All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL props video. Give me a touch on the top prop bets here for this two-game slate on Saturday. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So as always, I'd like to start off with a game preview. Let's start off with the Chargers versus the Texans here. This is going to be a 3-point spread here in favor of the Chargers winning, which I would say, yes, I would agree that the Chargers are going to win, but I would say 3 points feels to me a little bit too low. I know that the Chargers can keep games close, but I don't know. I just don't really see the Texans being a team that I think could really advance in the playoffs too deep. Like, I don't really see them as a Super Bowl contender. And I could potentially see the pieces coming into place for the Chargers to potentially do that, really just with Justin Herbert playing elite. But really, these two teams, in that sense, I don't think we're really looking at as Super Bowl contenders, but that doesn't really matter for props betting. I will say I would probably want to bet the over 3 points there for the Chargers. And then looking at the Steelers versus the Ravens, guys, this is going to be a 10-point spread. Also going to be kind of, relatively speaking, a lower scoring game, 43.5 points. And so with that, I'm seeing this, and we're probably going to want to bet on Derrick Henry for over his rush attempts. Like, just naturally speaking, we have seen that when the Ravens have won games by a decent amount of points, Derrick Henry has been able to get his over rush attempts. We'll go ahead and take a deep dive into both those games. We'll do that right now. Now, guys, let's start off with the bet that I kind of like the most, and I phrase it that way on purpose because it is going to be a bet where it is a demon bet. Typically speaking, we want to bet on bets that are going to be bets that have a 54% likelihood or better to hit. We're not really getting that with Justin Herbert, but I do like the edge here, I would say personally here, with him to get over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And really just comes down to the game log, honestly. And part of that is due to him playing well against tougher pass defenses as well. I know the Texans have been pretty solid defensively. They've only given up 5 passing touchdowns over the last 4 weeks. And so that's the concern there. But again, if I kind of think the Chargers are going to win this game, and I think the way they do that is through Justin Herbert. Hopefully Quentin Johnson doesn't drop a completion in the end zone. I could see that happening. But the Chargers did get a little bit healthier. McConkey's really looking good. DJ Chark's back for them. Will Dissly's back for them. J.K. Dobbins is back. I don't know if that would hurt or help Justin Herbert, but it's a 2-game slate in the playoffs, guys. We're not really going to find great bets. And so I don't mind the idea of chasing greater odds here for Justin Herbert to throw for an additional touchdown. I think we're pretty locked in on him passing for at least 1 touchdown. We need to get that extra touchdown. So I don't mind this prop bet here for Justin Herbert. Now, for what it's worth, guys, I do want to call it with Justin Herbert. If you guys think he's going to pass for 1.5 passing touchdowns, maybe it's no longer a boosted payout for that. Maybe the public gets to that decent amount. You could potentially do his over fantasy score on Underdog of 17.95. We're not getting enough sportsbook data in just yet on this one, but it is worth calling out, guys. PrizePicks has this line set at 19, so they're definitely a little bit higher. And so I did want to call that out. A slight prop line difference there for Justin Herbert. All right, so the next bet here, and honestly, guys, I really couldn't find another bet that I actually really decently like. And this is kind of going to be a part of that, but I could kind of see it getting there. It's an interesting slate on Saturday. We were really only getting some okay bets, I would say. I don't mind the idea of Robert Woods getting over 1.5 receptions. We can see over the past 4 games, he has gotten over 1.5 receptions. But that's really it. And it's kind of concerning because you look at the Texans now. They brought in Deontay Johnson. I thought he looked pretty solid there. They really like John Mechie there. He's been getting a decent amount of snaps. Xavier Hutchinson has gotten 70% of the snaps the last 2 weeks. They like him there as well. And so Robert Woods could potentially be the odd man out there, but also maybe they've just been limiting his snaps because he is a veteran and really their games matter, but didn't matter, towards the end. So it is tight. It's a tight board. I wanted to find another bet for Houston, and this was kind of the one I came to, was Woods over 1.5 receptions. If there's another bet that you guys like, by all means, we could target that. Now, guys, let's just take a general look at the best prop bets that we have. Okay, so one of them, Joe Mixon to score a touchdown. Again, I'm kind of indifferent about that. I don't know if we really need to get there. But that's kind of like it. That's like the only bet that I would consider going with via the data that we have here. And then for Underdog, we are getting a little bit better here, where we do see Dalton Schultz for under his fantasy score on Underdog. They're just a little bit too high, especially compared to PrizePicks. PrizePicks line is much more in line with what Vegas is thinking. And so I could get there with that one. I feel actually kind of comfortable with that one for Dalton Schultz for under his fantasy score. Now, the issue is that he is someone that did step up last year in kind of the same scenario with Tank Dell out and with Stephon Diggs out. But also part of that equation is, all right, well, will Deontay Johnson get a little bit more work? Cade Stover got a decent amount of work last week, but that was because the backups were playing, but noteworthy. And we also have to call out Joe Mixon here as well. Seeing some decent prop line differences for him. Again, underdog just a little bit too high compared to the other lines out there. And so worth calling out. He could actually maybe even middle. Obviously, this depends on him scoring a touchdown or not. So if you don't think he's going to score a touchdown, his under fantasy score on underdog would actually be a decent bet there as well. Now, I do want to call it, like, yes, I do think like Lad McConk is going to get over 5.5 receptions, but that's such a decreased payout, really not worth it. And the same thing for Quentin Johnston here as well. Do think there's a good chance that he gets over 3.5 receptions, but again, I don't feel like we need to go there. And when we pair it up with someone like Justin Herbert, that's when we see the payout actually get reduced. So didn't feel the need to go out of my way to target that. So guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the next game. Again, we got Baltimore versus Pittsburgh. I mentioned we probably would want to be betting on Derrick Henry for over his rush attempts, but that is kind of the move. I think that's why we're getting the line here at 20.5. Like, it's already been adjusted for kind of that trend that we had. I think we bet on this like a few times this year. I don't remember off the top of my head, but we see guys 20, 27, 24. Like lately, he's been getting those over rush attempts. And also been games in which they've been heavy favorites and have been up. Given the fact that this is the playoffs, like I think they could actually extend him out a little bit more. Like you could limit his snaps during the regular season, just especially in those games where you're up. You kind of just want to make sure you're winning the games here. And so I could see betting on his over rush attempts there. I would be fine with that. I think a lot of people are going to bet his over rush yards. I think it's worth calling out, guys. On PrizePicks, they have the line already bumped to 21. So if you guys want to bet that on underdog, you could certainly do that there. Now, the bet that I probably like the most in this game, and probably my second favorite bet in general, would be Mark Andrews to get over 3.5 receptions. Again, the issue is that the payout's a little bit reduced because it is seemingly going to be a good bet for us. This is basically due to the fact that Zay Flowers is going to be out in this game. And so I kind of expect Mark Andrews to be the receiver number one in this game. Now, I don't mind the idea of like pairing him up with maybe Likely or even Rashad Bateman over the receptions, but I think Mark Andrews is the starting point. At least two out of those three, though, like we could be targeting, but I like Mark Andrews the most. I think it's the most logical play there. The one concern that I have would be that this game ends up just being a blowout pretty fast. Again, 10-point spread. Maybe that's just Derrick Henry dominating in the first half where they just don't need to throw it that much, especially to Mark Andrews. That could happen. Not too worried about that, but trying to go over all the reasons as to maybe why it would be a bet that misses. And so, guys, looking at, yes, Rashad Bateman kind of going to be the actual receiver number one. Now, I do think Mark Andrews will be the top pass catcher. We did see Rashad Bateman really have a good game last week. 5 receptions, 8 targets, had a touchdown in that game. I don't know. He's just never been that high reception total type of guy. So I don't know if I really want to bet on that like Zay Flowers kind of has been. Bateman's not really a guy that you get the ball to quick and early as well. So that's a little bit concerning. Like, I do think it'll be more of a Derrick Henry game because of that. And I could actually just see it being a game where both Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews are, being very productive. And so Isaiah Likely to have his line at 2.5, I could see betting the over receptions there as well. And so, guys, let's just go ahead and zoom it out and just look at the top prop bets that we have right now. We are seeing Pat Freiermuth for under his fantasy score, again, an underdog. They're just a little bit too high there. I don't hate that, but also not a bet that I need to go out of my way to target. I wish we were getting better bets on at least underdog. Now on PrizePicks, one of the bets that's been popping up for about a few days now is actually Van Jefferson to get over his fantasy score. I don't know if we really need to get there, but that one is still popping up. 2.5. It's basically, will he get 2 receptions or even 1 reception with a lot of yards? I could see getting that. I don't really value it at 57% likely to hit, but that is one of the better bets that we have. So I did want to call that out to you guys there as well. And then we'll go ahead and take Van Jefferson off there. We could potentially get to Lamar Jackson for over 8.5 rush attempts. I don't hate that. Maybe gets a kneel or 2. Obviously, we would need that. I could actually see Justice Hill being someone that does get 2.5 receptions, kind of in replace of some of the production that Zay Flowers would get. I could see that. Another bet that I don't hate would be betting on Najee Harris to get under 43 rush yards. Again, 10-point spread. Will he really be on the field that much? You would think that Arthur Smith would be like, all right, let's just get Jaylen Warren going. Like, he is our dynamic playmaker. Let's give him the football. I don't want to bet on that because we haven't seen that really come to fruition, but could be there. I don't hate this bet as well for Rashad Bateman for over 20.5 for his longer receptions, but now we're starting to get into kind of some weird prop bets. So, guys, with that, let's go ahead and jump into the bet of the day for both PrizePicks and Underdog. So for Underdog, I will be rolling with this. Now, if you guys wanted to go with Justin Herbert for over 1.5 passing touchdowns here instead, you could certainly do that. I'm actually using that in the PrizePicks slip, so really just depends on which sites you're doing. I didn't want to double dip the prop there. It should correlate pretty well. But then we're looking at Mark Andrews for over 3.5 receptions. Again, I mentioned I like that one a decent amount. Not going to be a bet that I'm going to suggest on PrizePicks. And then Dalton Schultz, that's the best bet on the board for Saturday. So might as well include that, at least on Underdog. It's the best bet there. Also, you could do Pat Freiermuth under his fantasy score. We did see that Underdog is a little bit too high there, but I just wanted to do a 3-slip bet. All right, so yes, just like I mentioned, I will be doing Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns, and then going with Van Jefferson over 2.5 for his fantasy score. Board's telling us to do that. Do I love it? No, but we'll just roll with that. Again, 2-game slate. It's the playoffs as well. Really not going to get massive edges with the reduced amount of games that we have, but I'm kind of okay with these bets. They're decent. Again, guys, if you want the best bets on the board for PrizePicks and Underdog, make sure to head on over to 95sports.com, guys. Get access to the PrizePicks and Underdog cheat sheets to make sure you're getting those top prop bets included in the $10 month membership. $10, guys. Insane value. Insane value is included in the fantasy golf in there, or fantasy golf's included in that there as well. So definitely check that out, guys. We've been rocking and rolling with fantasy golf, 2 events in. Pretty good stuff there so far. So make sure to check that out there as well. All right, guys, that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck with all your bets. Give a like, give a subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.